Okay, the origins of this event are definitely not in us, Eva and I, being experts on virtual or augmented reality. So once we decided that, okay, we want to arrange a business event together, we wanted to have something that was an industry agnostic kind of overall theme. So virtual reality and augmented reality it is. And when we made this choice, we didn't realize what kind of a learning journey we sort of embarked on. I'm still trying to get my head around even the basic terminology related to this realm of VR and AR. And when we started marketing this event, it turned out that we are definitely not the only ones who are not completely sort of on the map of what does this virtual and augmented reality mean. So when Eva called and said that she had been discussing with TNS Gallup that we could do a survey together, I literally went bananas. So now I'm really, really excited to invite Katja, who is Director of Innovation and Product Development for TNS Gallup. So I will ask her to take the stage and share these exciting survey results with us. So please, the floor is yours, and I will take out your presentation.
Thank you, Melissa. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see so many people here. And if I understood correctly, there are many more watching the live stream. Very exciting. I think this is one of the first, thank you, events ever, and at least in Finland, connecting business and the virtual technologies. Great, let's give a big hand to that. Thank you. Yeah, we did have a privilege to do a survey among Finnish business decision makers. There are no such studies made in Finland, and it was very hard to find anything in other countries or markets. So I'm going to present the results to you. What we did. Just a couple of facts about the study. We did sort of personal discussions with stakeholders to gain more, let's say, a 360 understanding about the whole ecosystem. So we talked with companies utilizing VR, AR, companies who might be interested but not yet utilizing, companies producing content, companies who have a bigger and better view of the whole ecosystem in Finland. And then we asked 100 business decision makers what their take is on virtual reality, how well they know the technologies, what kind of opportunities they see, and if there are some issues that they think still need to be solved before they can really do business with these technologies. What do you think? How many Finnish business decision makers are personally, on personal level, aware of these technologies, that they say they know these technologies? None. Zero. 10%. Okay, we're getting closer. I'm happy to say that on personal level, at least these 100 business decision makers said, or 19 of them, 19% said they know VR, AR technologies. They are aware of that. And as I said, it was rather difficult to find any benchmarks for business decision makers. But what I did find was rather recent studies from the UK and the US among consumers. And there, the awareness is somewhere around 25% of those who have never heard of the virtual reality technologies. So, we are ahead of the game here in Finland, I'd say. We asked the companies, are they already utilizing the technologies? If they are already doing business with them, or if they have tried to adopt them in their business. And about 1/4 said they have. The bigger companies, of course, are the ones who maybe have more resources or more business opportunities, perhaps, to utilize these technologies. But nevertheless, quite many have experiences. On top of this, there's a lot of interest. And I think this was one of the nice findings in the study, especially for all of you guys, that there's a lot of interest towards these technologies. Approximately half of the respondents said they are interested to try out these in their own businesses. And especially the mid-size companies were the ones that were most interested. However, when we asked if you have planned or if you have done any specific planning about utilizing these technologies, quite many said no. So despite the interest, getting to the planning bit has been rather hard for the companies yet. So, what kind of opportunities and kind of drivers we could find in the Finnish business market? Let's see. 87% see or think that these technologies could provide them with competitive advantage, something new they have not seen yet. They really believe this is something for them to increase their business. Quite many of them mentioned several fields of expertise or areas where they could utilize these technologies. Biggest of those were customer experience and marketing. And on top of that, they mentioned quite often educational training, as well as communications. So they have kind of an idea where they could utilize technologies. Well, there are many kind of businesses who work on B2B, B2C, B2X, on different kind of markets. But I think it was great to see that more than 80% of the respondents, despite the fact that they would only work in B2C market, saw only business or saw also business benefits in B2C market and or B2B market and vice versa. So both B2B and B2C are relevant for these technologies. We made a statement that virtual technologies are only a hype. 3 out of 4 disagreed. So I think, I'm not sure, I've been contemplating by myself whether it is the fact that I've been so much involved now with these virtual technologies and in this world, but I think I see every day something, a headline, a story, I hear somebody talk about virtual technologies, and I think the business leaders do so as well. So maybe it's not only a hype, maybe it's here to stay. 2 out of 3 decision makers say they want to be among the first to utilize these technologies and gain the business benefits. They really are. They want to explore what's in it for them. And what makes me glad is that 2 out of 3 decision makers think that there's top know-how among this field in Finland. Okay, let's have a quick look at some of the barriers, if you will, that we identified from the results. 58% think that the technology is not ready enough. I think you guys may have heard this before, this claim. However, this is the reality among the decision makers. They are a bit unaware of where we are going at the moment. They have a lot of questions, starting from the very basics, like, what is AR? I'm sorry, come again? What is VR? What do you mean with that? How can you use that really? What are the business models? Is the technology mature enough? Sure, that was one of the questions. But they also want to kind of talk business around the issue. How much money is there to gain? And also they want to know what the consumers or their potential clients think about these technologies. And that is something we have not found in Finland either as a data source. So that's why we've launched a project now already to really explore the consumer market in Finland next with a similar kind of study. So if you have good ideas or you want to be a part of that, so please come and meet us just outside the room. So let's discuss more. We want to hear your good suggestions about interesting topics to include. When do the businesses think they can actually really start utilizing the technologies? 2 out of 3 decision makers think that it takes 3 to 5 years, even more than 5 years, before they can actually increase these technologies and their usage in their businesses. It's quite a long time, even though they saw short-term benefits. So now, of course, we can discuss what is short-term in business. It varies. But I'd say it's definitely they don't see it as any tactical maneuvers yet. And what's more, and very typical in these kind of situations, is that there's a huge need for information. Information about technologies and what you can do with them, and also about the whole ecosystem. More than 60% of the respondents, for example, did not know where they could find these services, or services that help them plan the content for these technologies. More than 60%. So I think that is something to really think about. So to summarize, there is a lot of interest. It's a hot topic. You can't go around that. It's not a hype, it's here to stay, it's very interesting, and something very promising for the businesses. However, there are some gaps, and the question is, how can you really cross these gaps and connect the technology and the business? These are good questions for all of you to reflect upon. Sorry, I was talking about interest. A lot of uncertainty, but yes, a lot of interest. Combining these two, you might ask, who wants to take the lead? Or maybe not who wants, I guess all of you here are here because you want to take the lead or want to take things forward. But how can we actually make it happen? To make the interest into business. And despite all the opportunities the business decision makers can imagine that go with these technologies, they do not seem to have that much of a rush to get things forward. And maybe the bottleneck is that they just don't know who to contact or what to do, or they cannot do specific planning before they have all the facts, or before they understand that how this will benefit their business. All businesses are unique. And because they see that the utilization can really, or we can talk about really utilizing these technologies in 3 to 5 or even more years, brings to mind a question that how much risks, or how many risks are the companies willing to take, and how can they control the risks maybe? They have a lot of interest, but there's a lot of information missing. So it's definitely hard to kind of think what is there to gain, but also what is there to lose if we go with these technologies. And there's, okay, 2 out of 3 think Finland has really top know-how in this area. Very often it was also mentioned that this know-how lives in some deep caves somewhere in the dark, and people are frantically developing things, and they are really good at what they do. But from the business decision maker point of view, they don't, they respect that, but they don't really understand what that could mean for them. So I think there's a need for some kind of a simultaneous translator between the know-how and the business. So the companies could really understand what they have to gain. And whereas Eversheds is between business and law, I might say that we are between the information gaps and the business, or the insights and the business, or innovation launch and business. And there are many others who can actually help the companies if they just take upon this issue. So I will leave you with 3 theses. One of them is that you and the Finnish businesses and their clients should really actively co-create. I'm sure you already do that. It's another hot topic of today. Customer centricity and service mindedness and putting the customer into the center. But it really is like that. Of course, it's hard because unless the technology is developed enough, you can't really plan the content. But if the content is not business supportive, how can you invest in more technology development? So really be active with your partners and within the networks you have. Welcome. Thesis number 2 is that I think, personally, that lack of clear value proposition will be the greatest pitfall for you guys. You may disagree, and please do, and come talk with us about your opinions. But I claim that the value proposition for the companies is something to really think about, and recognize that there are many different kinds of companies, and not one value proposition that suits all. And a third thesis is that we've seen throughout our research very often that the one who gets to the market first claims kind of the pole position as the market leader. And even more so today, in today's world, we see that the innovations that can provide the best kind of market customer fit are the ones who really thrive. And there we go back to the value proposition and the co-creation. So be brave and be the first and be out there and take a step towards commercializing these technologies and the contents. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katja, for this wonderful presentation. Very, very interesting information. And I'm thinking, while we set the chairs for the next part of the program, the panel discussion, would you like to take a couple of questions, if there are any in the audience? So maybe we need this mic. If there is someone who wants to ask a question.
Yes?
100 companies that you have been interviewing, what areas were they representing?
Well, they were representing different industries, all across Finland. We actually took the sample from our own B2B Atlas database. That is, B2B Atlas is a database of business decision makers and their opinions and a source of kind of a segmentation tool as well, if you will. But we have thousands of them in our database, and that was the source. And we made sure that we have different sized companies and in different industries. And of course, wouldn't it be great to do a study where you could drill into some type of companies? But here, unfortunately, we didn't have time nor the purpose to do so, but just to give you a hint of what the businesses think. Any other questions?
Okay, if everyone is happy with this information package, let's give Katja one more round of applause.